ਕੰਟੈਸਟੈਂਟਸ ਨੇ ਇਨੀ ਦਿਨੀ ਦੇਸ਼ ਭਰ ਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ ਲੋਕਲ ਇਲੈਕਸ਼ਨਸ ਹੋਣੇ ਨੇ, ਜਿਨ੍ਹਾਂ ਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ ਜਿਹੜੇ ਮੇਅਰ ਜਾਂ ਫਿਰ ਲੋਕਲ ਬੋਰਡ ਮੈਂਬਰ ਅਤੇ ਕਾਉਂਸਲਰਸ ਨੂੰ ਚੁਣਿਆ ਜਾਣਾ ਹੈ। ਸੋ ਫਾਓ ਇਲਾਕੇ ਤੋਂ ਕਾਉਂਸਲਰ ਨੇ ਕੈਰਿਨ ਲਿਓਨੀ ਔਰ ਮੈਰੋਲ ਕੈਂਡੀਡੇਟ ਨੇ ਇਸ ਵਾਰ ਤਮਾਕੀ ਮਕੌਰੋ ਦੇ ਵਾਸਤੇ, ਜਿਸ ਨੂੰ ਅਸੀਂ ਆਕਲੈਂਡ ਆਖਦੇ ਹਾਂ। ਆਕਲੈਂਡ ਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ ਬਹੁਤ ਮਲਟੀਕਲਚਰਲਿਜ਼ਮ ਹੈ। ਇਸ ਮਲਟੀਕਲਚਰਲਿਜ਼ਮ ਨੂੰ ਸ਼ੋਕੇਸ ਕਰਦੇ ਹਾਂ ਮੌਰੀ ਮੂਲ ਦੀ ਫਰਸਟ ਫੀਮੇਲ ਕਾਉਂਸਲਰ ਕੈਰਿਨ ਲਿਓਨੀ ਅੱਜ ਸਟੂਡੀਓ ਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ ਹਾਜ਼ਰ ਨੇ। ਇਹ ਗੱਲਬਾਤ ਇੰਗਲਿਸ਼ ਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ ਹੋਏਗੀ ਤੇ ਉਸ ਤੋਂ ਬਾਅਦ ਮੈਂ ਪੰਜਾਬੀ ਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ ਇਸ ਨੂੰ ਟਰਾਂਸਲੇਟ ਕਰਕੇ ਆਡੀਅנס ਤੱਕ ਜ਼ਰੂਰ ਲੈ ਕੇ ਹਾਜ਼ਰ ਹੋਵਾਂਗਾ। ਵੈਲਕਮ ਟੂ ਦ ਸ਼ੋ ਕਿਉਰਾ।
Thank you so much for having me.
Overall, looking at the bigger picture of Tamaki Makaurau, the demography has been changed.
Absolutely, it has.
So what makes you to go for the top job?
Oh, I think it is time for change. We have had the same type of leaders in our city for a long time.
Yep.
And I think it's time for a young woman. It's time for someone that is under 50 that wants to think about the future of our city and is actually going to be around to see the plans happen. You know,
Excellent.
Yeah, we need a 30-year plan for our city if we want to actually have the infrastructure that most global cities have. And we need to have someone that's got a strong vision to do that. So that's why I put my name up for the top job.
Excellent. From Mount Roskill to Waiheke.
Yes.
And then Waiheke to London.
Yes.
And back.
Yes.
What makes you to start your career in politics from far ward?
I think for myself, I've always been around family that are very strong in politics from a young age. And I've been sharing this story that when I was 15 years old, I received an award from the then mayor, Les Mills,
Yes.
a youth award. So I've always been in youth leadership and carried those roles. And then I was over in the UK. I ran my charity over there,
Yes.
helping our young people, and have always wanted to make change. So I think the best way to do that is to do community work, which I have done as well. I've worked with my iwi, I've worked with youth groups, and now I think, it's about coming into politics and showing leadership and showing the change that we need at this level.
Wonderful. Well, when I look at your profile as a councillor, I can see in this capacity you are playing a crucial role in shaping strategic decisions for Auckland, particularly in areas concerning public transport, urban planning, environmental protection. How do you define your role so far since 2022 when you're looking at these three aspects?
Well, the environment protection, as we all know, has got to be front and centre of what we're doing in Auckland. Climate change especially. We've had two significant floods in our city, which I don't think we, had ever experienced any of that in the last 45 years that I've been alive.
Yes.
And so we need to really make sure that all of that future proofing for our city going forward is important. And that's why I have been advocating along with the Ethnic Communities Panel for Auckland Council around the local boards leading and having clear plans on how we can be ready for the next incident that happens. And we haven't done that well in the past. In terms of housing, that is probably the most significant issue for our city in terms of cost of living, because we know that at least a third of everyone's wages is going on either their rent or their mortgage. And so we need to be coming up with ideas that we can work with developers to either get people on the property ladder or look at more stable long-term rents. And I've been advocating for that, the build to rent program, which locks in a stable rent for around 10 years time. And these are the types of ideas that we actually have to provide for the future generations of Auckland, because otherwise people are just going to keep moving out of the city, especially our key workers. So, our doctors, our teachers, those that are working in the health sector, we have to provide a vision forward for them so they've got a reason to stay here and contribute to our city. And for our young people, university students, they don't want to stay in Auckland unless they've got good leadership and a reason to stay. So those are some of the things that I'll be campaigning on.
There's another issue, actually. We are sitting in South Auckland right now.
Yes.
And which is very utmost important part for the Tamaki Makaurau. We've got more migrant communities in this part of the country. Law and order, very much in the news for wrong reasons. NV Singh actually commented, we need a lot of works to improve country, just not infrastructure, but overall country is way behind. Law and order is more important. So what is your take on that?
Look, I agree that we need to really come up with ways to make sure that we are a safer city. You know, from when I was growing up in Auckland and we were able to play in the park and come home at dinner time, you know, now kids can't do that because there's so many things that are happening which are not safe. And so we need to put more resource, I believe, into the community patrol programs. At the moment, we know that the Mayor's team does have a group of security that are going throughout Auckland, and I'd want to continue that. But on top of that, I want to encourage our local communities to actually have their own community leadership. The Māori wardens, the Pacific wardens, they all help in preventing crime. And actually, we need to get our young people, if they're not in work, or if they're not in school, then I think the council does have a role to play in that. I mean, we're the largest organisation in the city, the largest council in the country, and there's opportunities for young people to be able to come and get work experience. You know, you look at all the voluntary organisations that are funded by the council. We could be working with schools and programs where kids aren't in school and actually give them some hope. Because those young people don't have hope, they don't have structure, and the council can play a role in that, along with central government and partnership. But we have to lead some of those ideas.
Tell us more about the partnership when you're looking at issues like law and order, because I've got a comment from Canberra, Australia. This young fellow migrated to Australia way back in 2010. Paramdeep, he said, in recent times, there's been many break-ins in Auckland and its surroundings. Looks like a community harmony is lost cause. So we need to address the root cause for the issues. And how can we maintain law and order, especially when you're talking about the partnership between the local government and the federal government?
Well, first of all, you know, I just want to say that that behaviour is just so unacceptable for our city, because everyone should feel safe in Auckland, but we know that they're not. So we have to come up with some tighter policies and working agreements on how we're going to address it. Because from my perspective, we don't have strong enough relationships with central government. At the moment, Wayne Brown has meetings on his own. So the other councillors, we've only had one meeting with the other MPs as councillors, and we are the leaders of the city. So a lot of the negotiations...
The country's biggest city.
Exactly.
I would say 37% of the people lives in here.
We're the powerhouse of the city.
Exactly.
And as councillors, we haven't had access to be able to have those conversations with our MPs that are actually making the big decisions for the country. So if I am elected as mayor, I will do that on a quarterly basis, if not a monthly basis, to organise those who are in the chair roles for each committee and the wider councillors to be meeting with our MPs on a regular basis to come up with solutions.
And I think this is about time to look at the accountability and answerability of each and every one sitting over there.
That's right. That's right. We have to make sure we've got a clear plan, and right now we don't. There have been some steps taken, but I mean, obviously, we have to look at ways that we can focus on prevention, and that is by looking at opportunities for those young people to have something else to do. And I think that's one option that we could be looking at, but definitely a community approach. So the community patrols, Māori wardens, we need to increase that in the city.
Yeah. And I've seen a few law enforcement officers in the CBD. It does make difference actually in that part of the city. But how about the other directions?
They should be out here. And that's what I would be saying is that the CBD has already had that group in there, and they should be moving right around Auckland. So if I do become mayor, I will ensure that they are actually coming to every single part of Auckland.
Yes. You have touched down a little bit on the youth leadership. And I can still remember your experience in Mana Aroha.
Yes.
So tell us more about that. How are you going to utilize your experience with that organization when you become
Yeah,
on a hot
I
seat?
still have a lot of my international connections with New Zealand business owners that are based in London.
Wonderful.
And I think that there are still a lot of New Zealanders or New Zealand business owners around the world who want to contribute to vulnerable young people back here.
Hmm.
And I think it's about getting that organization running again, looking at how we can connect those people in, and looking at how we connect in local businesses as well.
Yeah.
Because I think everyone wants to actually contribute to addressing the issue, but it's having a plan that everyone agrees on and is proud of. I know that there's been I think a task force meeting that was held previously where there were some youth fights out here, and we had something out in West Auckland as well in New Lynn. So we had a short-term plan that addressed that, which has still been good. We haven't had any more fights out there, but we need to work on it and have that right across the city.
One of the listeners actually saying that agreed, she has great vision, and we need the leaders like her who can actually make difference, but not just fake promises. And also got a comment, what are the plans in the future to bring communities closer and bridges gap of cultural differences? I think this help in reducing hate crimes and other crimes as well. So what is your take on the recent incident? I would say incident actually, during the march by Brian Tamaki, where he actually burnt out all the flags and the religious symbols. And how do you look into it when we are actually keep saying we are proudly multicultural?
Again, I don't support any of the things that happen there, and we are multicultural, and that is the reason why I chose to be the lead councillor for the ethnic communities panel, because
Wonderful.
that is the future of our city. It's the future of our country, and I've always been very aware that as a wahine Māori, as a Māori councillor,
Yep.
Māori have always been open to having other cultures in New Zealand,
Yes.
and we need to work with them. I mean, I'd always said that I'd love to invite more of our ethnic community onto the marae and share our cultures together, because I think we have so much in common.
Yes.
That family is at the center of everything we do, safety for our family and our next generation, our children. So we need to look at how we can actually compare our cultures and look at what we have in common and then move forward from there. Because I think, we have a lot to share.
Looking at the global picture, how can local government, especially when you become a mayor, what will be your connections globally to rectify all those current problems we have in Auckland?
Yeah, that's probably the most exciting part. So we have over 20 sister cities. Auckland Council has over 20 sister cities, and I think we could actually have some more. But look, when we look at places like Brisbane that are doing very well in terms of their transport and
Super
infrastructure.
City Council.
That's right. 50-cent fares for public transport.
Yeah.
We can learn from them, and we can actually compare even on the cost of the infrastructure that's being built, because I think that's one of my main concerns is that we've got these big tier one contractors that are taking all of the big contracts for the city.
Okay.
There's a lot of overspend happening. So how can we actually compare those costs with other amazing cities that are getting the infrastructure done and they're doing it within budget? That's probably one of the biggest things. But yeah, I mean, transport around the world is amazing, and Auckland needs to get there. We need reliable transport for our city.
Wonderful. I can see a lovely photo of you actually, where people actually, your supporters actually wearing T-shirts. Kerrin Leoni for mayor.
Yes.
So is it during the Rainbows community event?
Yes, that was. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
So how do you support this community? Because I can see that you are advocating our wonderful community. How do you look into it in the different changes all around the world and changes within our society? How do you look at these changes in the community wise, looking at the LGBTQ community and the rainbows communities and even disability, people with a disability? They are special people for us.
That's right.
So what would you do for them?
Well, we have to embrace all of our communities, and we have to make sure that they all do feel heard.
Yes.
So I would definitely ensure that we continue to have the like the ethnic community panels, the disability panels, and continue to
even
fund
the
them.
seniors.
Even the seniors. But I do believe that there does need to be more around the policy implementation. So that's still where I find that there is a slight gap in terms of council and where we could do better. And we should be able to show that in terms of the progress that we're making, because when the feedback does come back to us, we know sometimes it's hard to put that into our plans, and I feel we actually could do better with that. So with the recommendations that are made by all of those panels, I do want to improve the outcomes to that.
So where will you get the money?
The money, we are not going to raise the rates. That's definitely not what we're going to do. We're going to keep the rates under budget. But what I have talked about for big infrastructure projects, for example, if we do within my term or the next 2 terms, build a train line out to the airport, for example, from Puhunui to the airport, only 10 kilometres of track. So my idea for that is to look at a public-private partnership. So that means that the user would pay, like similar to what has happened in Sydney. In Sydney, you pay $20 to catch the train to the airport. That's right. You can get anywhere. And we need to look at similar models. If we can't afford to do that within the central government and local government budgets, then we need to be looking at partnerships as well.
Wonderful. Looking at the partnership or the transport side, so what are your thoughts? I mean, so far, what is in your mind? Is there any blueprint you have if you are sitting with the transport minister? What is your plan?
Right. So we have about 4 train lines that I'm wanting to push. So the first one is the train line to the airport. And we have got some costings
much needed
on
task.
that. Yes. 10 kilometres of train track is not very much, is it? I don't think. Puhunui. The second one is the Avondale to Southdown line. So that would make it easier, obviously, for people to get across from south to west and west to south. Then we've also got the Huapai line, which would help with that whole area that, I mean, the line used to be open, it was closed, and we need to look at reopening that. And then obviously the big project that we've got is the Waitemata crossing. So I am advocating for building a side-by-side bridge with the current harbour bridge to do that first. And then when we get more funding, to look at the tunnel to go underground so that we can have a train running through that tunnel, because I've been informed that we can't have a train go over the harbour bridge because of the weather conditions.
Obviously, even the bikers always keep asking for that.
That's right. But we will get there. So those are the 4 key infrastructure projects in terms of transport that our city needs to have as a basic for us.
You know, these days we are actually struggling with another issue, which is homelessness. So any plans for that?
Homelessness, we have got a plan to address
including
that.
Mental health issues too. You know, it's
well, that's it. It has to be
huge issue.
It is a huge issue, and I do come from a social services background. So I actually started my first job in Otahuhu as a social worker when I was only 20 years old. Just not far from here, and worked with probably some of our most vulnerable people in Auckland. So I understand with homelessness, it is actually the wraparound service and support that they need. And we haven't been able to achieve that as a city, but I do want to point out the 2 organisations. So I know that there in Otahuhu, there is youth housing for homelessness run by an organisation called Mate Huruhuru. And if I'd love to introduce you to Mahira if you ever get a chance to bring her on the radio station.
Wonderful.
And then there's also Aaron Hendry. So I know that there's work being done, but of course, if I am to become mayor, I would have a stronger plan within that first 100 days because I believe in my background and history to actually address that, because it's increased by 50%, I hear.
Very well said. What else you want to say, especially when you are sitting in southeast part of the Makimakoro? What else in your corridor?
I believe that it's time for South Auckland to really be heard. You know, South Auckland needs a voice. And for so long, I feel like there hasn't been, a lot of money put into South Auckland.
Retail safety.
Child
youth leadership.
All of those things. We need to have youth leadership. We need to make sure people feel safe running their businesses. And I will personally come out here and make sure that I'm visible as a mayor for all Aucklanders in South Auckland.
I've seen you in one of the Sikh temple Gurdwara in Chakanini, and I've heard one of the community member Jagdish Sidhu actually advocating for you.
That's good.
So I'm very happy that you are here finally.
Thank
and
you.
What do you want to say to the minority communities living in this part of the Auckland? They need to hear about sense of belonging. They need to hear about their inclusiveness in this country.
Yeah. And I want to say that first of all, you all belong here.
Yes.
And I appreciate your contribution that you have made to Auckland, to choose this to be your home, to raise your children in the most beautiful city in the world.
Wonderful.
And I will work hard to make sure that whatever your views are and whatever I can push as the Mayor of Auckland, I will work hard to do that and make sure that I'm visible out here in your community all the time.
How about the upcoming debates? Are you ready?
I am ready, and was very disappointed that Mayor Wayne Brown didn't even respond to an invitation from Auckland University. I think that is appalling. It's appalling behaviour from the sitting mayor to not even care and be arrogant and think that he's just going to win without even debating other candidates. So I know that it has been on RNZ, and I need to continue to get out and let people know that actually there is another person standing against Wayne Brown, myself, Kerrin Leoni, and he needs to be at that debating table. You know, we need to debate the policies that people believe are going to be the best for our city.
Who else you think in the race?
I think there's no one else in the race.
Yes, so nominations done.
Nominations are done. The media's already confirmed it's between Wayne Brown and myself. So you're either going to vote for someone who's already been there, which people have said that they're not happy with, or you vote for someone new, someone who comes from a minority background as well, that's going to make changes for our city.
And you're ready for long days, less sleep?
I am. I've been a councillor now. I've been in local government for 6 years.
Yes.
And I'm experienced. I ran my own business and property investment for 20 years. I ran a consultancy in London for 10
Wonderful.
years. So I've got the experience. We just need to change the leadership now. It's time for change.
Wonderful. All the best. I'm
Thank you.
very sure that people who are listening to this corridor and who are going to listen this corridor at later stage in the evening, in the night, they will be, they will have little more questions to extend this conversation. So we will meet again.
Thank you.
To get all those questions again from our audience.
Yes, I'm really happy to come back. And, just a final note to say that Wayne is an engineer, but I'm a qualified economist, and I want to get our city moving. That is what I will be aiming to do if I'm elected as mayor of the city.
Well said. I'm very hopeful about your campaign, and all the best.
Thank you very much, Paminda.
Thank you. ਦੋਸਤੋ ਕੈਰਨ ਲਿਓਨੀ ਜਿਹੜੇ ਕਿ ਆਕਲੈਂਡ ਦੇ ਮੇਅਰ ਦੇ ਵਾਸਤੇ ਕੰਟੈਸਟ ਕਰ ਰਹੇ ਨੇ ਵਾਉ ਵਾਰਡ ਤੋਂ ਫਰਸਟ ਫੀਮੇਲ ਮਾਓਰੀ ਕਾਉਂਸਲਰ ਉਹ ਬਣੇ ਸਨ ਔਰ ਉਹਨਾਂ ਦੀ ਜਿਹੜੀ ਜਰਨੀ ਰਹੀ ਹੈ ਉਹ ਬੜੀ ਚੈਲੰਜਿੰਗ ਜਰਨੀ ਰਹੀ ਜਿਹਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ ਉਹਨਾਂ ਨੇ ਜਿਹੜੀ ਲੋਕਾਂ ਦੀ ਇੰਪੋਰਟੈਂਸ ਆ ਖਾਸ ਤੌਰ ਤੇ ਇੱਥੋਂ ਦੀ ਸੁਸਾਇਟੀ ਦਾ ਮਲਟੀਕਲਚਰਲਿਜ਼ਮ ਆ ਇਹਨੂੰ ਐਕਨੋਲੇਜ ਕੀਤਾ ਰੀਟੇਲ ਸੇਫਟੀ ਨੂੰ ਐਕਨੋਲੇਜ ਕੀਤਾ ਸਾਊਥ ਆਕਲੈਂਡ ਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ ਜਿਹੜੀ ਹੋਮਲੈਸਨੈਸ ਆ ਇਹਨੂੰ ਲੈ ਕੇ ਐਕਨੋਲੇਜ ਕੀਤਾ ਕਿਉਂਕਿ ਓਟਾਹੂ ਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ ਪਹਿਲਾਂ ਜਦੋਂ ਸਿਰਫ 20 ਸਾਲ ਦੇ ਸਨ ਉਦੋਂ ਉਹਨਾਂ ਨੇ ਆਪਣੀ ਜੌਬ ਦੀ ਸ਼ੁਰੂਆਤ ਓਟਾਹੂ ਤੋਂ ਕੀਤੀ ਸੀ ਜਿਸ ਕਰਕੇ ਜਿਹੜੀ ਹੋਮਲੈਸਨੈਸ ਦੀ ਪ੍ਰੋਬਲਮ ਹੈ ਉਹਨੂੰ ਬਹੁਤ ਚੰਗੇ ਢੰਗ ਦੇ ਨਾਲ ਅੰਡਰਸਟੈਂਡ ਕਰਦੇ ਨੇ ਪੰਜਾਬੀ ਕਮਿਊਨਿਟੀ ਜਾਂ ਇੰਡੀਅਨ ਕਮਿਊਨਿਟੀ ਚਾਹੇ ਉਹ ਗੁਜਰਾਤੀ ਹੋਣ ਜਿੱਥੇ ਕਿਤੇ ਵੀ ਇਸ ਮੁਲਕ ਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ ਵਸਦੇ ਨੇ ਉਹਨਾਂ ਦੀ ਨਜ਼ਰ ਇਸ ਮੇਅਰਲ ਰੇਸ ਦੇ ਉੱਤੇ ਰਹੇਗੀ ਜਿਹਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ ਕਲੀਅਰਲੀ ਸਿਟਿੰਗ ਮੇਅਰ ਵੇਨ ਬਰਾਊਨ ਅਤੇ ਕਾਉਂਸਲਰ ਕੈਰਨ ਲਿਓਨੀ ਦੇ ਵਿਚਾਲੇ ਜਿਹੜਾ ਮੁੱਖ ਮੁਕਾਬਲਾ ਜਾਂ ਕੰਟੈਸਟ ਜਿਹੜਾ ਹੋਣ ਜਾ ਰਿਹਾ ਹੈ ਬਹੁਤ ਜਲਦੀ ਤੁਹਾਡੇ ਘਰਾਂ ਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ ਬਾਈ ਪੋਸਟ ਜਿਹੜੀਆਂ ਵੋਟਿੰਗ ਬੈਲਟਸ ਨੇ ਪੇਪਰਸ ਨੇ ਉਹ ਪਹੁੰਚ ਜਾਣਗੇ ਸੋ ਨੈਕਸਟ ਟਾਈਮ ਇੱਕ ਵਾਰ ਫਿਰ ਅਸੀਂ ਫਾਓ ਦੇ ਕਾਉਂਸਲਰ ਕੈਰਨ ਲਿਓਨੀ ਹੋਣਾ ਨੂੰ ਤੁਹਾਡੇ ਲਈ ਰੂਬਰੂ ਕਰਾਂਗੇ ਥੈਂਕ ਯੂ ਵੈਰੀ ਮਚ
ਥੈਂਕ ਯੂ
ਬਹੁਤ ਸ਼ੁਕਰੀਆ I hope you learn a few in Hindi and English words as well.
I need that one. Shukriya. That one's easy to remember.
That's really